Alright, it's Hunter Elliott here with rangehot.com. I'm sitting here with John Travis, 1911 tuner, and he's going to do a demonstration on how to detail strip a original Colt 1918 Black Army 1911.
Are we ready?
Waiting on you, Gunny.
Alright. First off, check the pistol to make sure that it's unloaded, and it is. I like to use my thumb for more control. Let's get my tool out of the way over here. Flip the pistol over. Now, a lot of people like to align the takedown notch, but I just put a little pressure on the other side of the pin, and when the slide goes past it, it pops right out. We'll go ahead and do the slides if we got it in our hand. Depress the firing pin spring and lever down a little bit on the firing pin stop to capture it. Put your thumb over it so that it doesn't fly out and go across the room and get lost. And you've got your firing pin and spring. Now the firing pin and spring are unidirectional. The firing pin spring is supposed to press onto the firing pin so that they won't separate easily. If you get it on backwards, it won't do that. So you have to get it on right. Get that out of the way. Next we lever out our extractor. And the slide is detail strip. Let's lay this off to one side. Next we go to the frame. I take the thumb safety out next. The thumb safety takedown comes out about halfway between on and off. I put a little pressure on the pin, wiggle the safety out, lower the hammer, and I take my AR-15 firing pin that I've got the end ground off on to fit the cup on the mainspring housing pin. Knock it out. Bring the mainspring housing down. Lift out the grip safety. Lift out the sear spring. Flip it over and tap it. And the hammer and sear pins fall out. If they don't, you can always use the hammer strut to push them out. Next comes the magazine catch, which is not a screw but a cam lock. Just light pressure to turn on that screw head, and you get your magazine catch right in the right position by pushing in on it, and it turns easily and comes right out. Next is the trigger. Alright, to go back together, first we do the trigger. The trigger can go in upside down, but it'll only go in part way. So you flip it over, put it in, magazine catch goes back in reverse order. Same deal going in, it has to be just in the right position, so you adjust that with your thumb on the other side, put light tension on the screw. When it reaches the right place, it snaps in easily. This is the part that gives everybody so much trouble. Tedious. The sear and the disconnect. I like to put them in as a unit. The flat side of the disconnect spade goes forward toward the trigger. The sear goes in concave side facing you. I like to put them in as a unit. Slide them right up into the hole. I like to get the disconnect spade just about flush with the bottom of the sear or close to it. Put my thumb in to hold it in place and then flip it over. Look through the hole, pull the trigger, and adjust with your thumb until you get everything aligned. Put your slave pin in, shake it. If nothing falls out, you've got it together right. Remove the slave pin. Install the sear pin, which is flanged on one end. It goes on the left side of the pistol. Next comes your hammer. Use your slave pin to align it. Same thing with the hammer pin. Flange on one end. It goes on the left side of the pistol. Keep your strut flipped out of the way. Install your sear spring. I like to put the bottom notch into the tab into the notch, and make sure that you've got the left leaf of the sear spring on top of the left sear leg. If it goes under it, the pistol goes back together, the hammer won't cock. So if you get it together and the hammer doesn't cock, that's what you've done wrong. You need to put that on top of the sear spring, on top of the sear leg. Put the mainspring housing in to keep everything together. Slip the strut into the cup of the mainspring cap. Get the grip safety in place, pull down slightly on the mainspring, let the grip safety in. Where did my pin go? There it is. Mainspring housing pin. Push down on the hammer to get the mainspring housing to align. Sometimes you have to push up on the mainspring housing, but this one you have to go down. Tap it back into place. Cock the hammer. Replace the thumb safety. Most people use a slave to go in from this direction, but I like to use it in this direction by placing a little pressure on the thumb safety, pushing it in, and when I pull up, thumb safety down, put the extractor in, use the firing pin stop to align the extractor to make sure that everything's where it needs to be. Firing pin and spring go in as a unit. Put just a little pressure on your firing pin stop. Depress your firing pin and spring. Stop goes in. Pin pops out, retains it. Barrel and bushing. Recoil system goes in as a unit. Watch for the hole to line up with the link. Put your slider stop into place, align the takedown notch, push up and in. Spring plug goes back in. And the pistol is together.